Welcome to yet another edition of the Stats podcast. For today, we're going over UFC Noche Grasso versus Shevchenko 2. First things first, make sure you give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's social media. There's the Stats and Stacks podcast. First overview of last week. We crushed it with the locks again. We started off the year real hot. We hit a weird rough patch in the middle, but we have been crushing these locks back and forth the last few weeks. So it is what it is. We're looking to continue. I do have some rules. Again, I will not bet anyone over minus 300 as a lock. I also try my damnedest to stay away from women's MMA as well as low level heavyweight. I locked the heavyweight last week and it just happened to pay off, even though it was a little sketchy. This week we had Tracy Cortez as a lock, but there's so many just huge favorites. It's kind of unavoidable at this point. So I mean, at the end of the day, we're looking to get this paid. We'll make cases for each fight, and just figure out where the money lies, baby. So it's an interesting fight card. There were like 9 or 10 cancellations, so it initially was a really, really good card for people saying, "Why is this card not that great?" Because these are all fill-ins. Just a lot of canceled fights. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, but. And we still have a good co-main. We still have a good main event, and as long as you make money, it's a fun night. So, the night is going to kick off with just oddness. Okay, so we have Joseph. The original matchup, I don't even remember what it was, but I know Josephine came in on short notice. Where is she on here? Um, God, I don't even remember, but I know that Josephine came in on short notice. She was gonna. It was originally supposed to be Elise Reed versus Lucindo. Lucindo, they got rebooked, and then Lucindo wound up. I don't even remember at this point. I just know that Josephine Knutson eventually came in and she was going to fight Lucindo, and then Lucindo had to pull out. So now you have a replacement for her, and you have Mardik Man. So you have one replacement fighter fighting another replacement fighter just to start the night. So that's why, if it's a weird matchup, it's because neither one of these girls were supposed to be here, and especially on UFC Noche, neither one are of Latin descent, but it is what it is. We have Josephine as a huge favorite at minus 485 going up against Marnik Man at plus 370. This is basically just a glorified contenders fight. Both these ladies have been in contender series. The over-under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 190, under 2.5 plus 145. Let's start with Josephine and figure out why she's such a huge favorite. Well, first and foremost, she's undefeated. She's 27 years old, so she's entering the prime of her just physical peak. In regards to where she trains at All Stars, which is where Volkan Ozdemir trains, where he's looked good as of late. That's where Alir Latifi trains, Alexander Gustafsson, and of course the main guy right now, Hamzat Chimaev. That is his main gym. So that's kind of the company that she keeps. She's a notorious striker. She's a very, very, very good kickboxer, a long history in kickboxing, and she's transitioning over into MMA. She's freakishly strong, man. This girl is tough and she is strong and she is mean. She's taking it on short notice, so you have to watch her cardio, but it seems fine. She just fought on Contender Series 3 weeks ago. So you do have to be wary of that, but she didn't take too much punishment in that Isis Verbeek fight, so she should be fine on that front too. She has mixed in wrestling here and there, so she's not just a striker because she has such a strong Muay Thai base. You can't do those trip takedowns in Muay Thai, and she's pretty accustomed to those. So her wrestling's not bad. Her striking's very good. Her jiu-jitsu, not the greatest, but the good news for her is that she's fighting Marnik. And I'll tell you right now, Marnik Man is not a jiu-jitsu practitioner either. She's 6-1, and her sole loss is coming on the Contender Series as well. So one is undefeated, one only has one loss, and it was both they both competed on Contender Series. She's 30 years old, so she's currently in her prime. She's pretty low volume, which wasn't nice. She doesn't have the initially I thought she had good wrestling. She doesn't. She's just fought really, really low level of competition, and it makes it look like her wrestling's decent, but her form's not the greatest. She's not the best wrestler. Her striking, she hits extremely hard, but she's not a technical striker by any means. Her cardio, she can slow down in her fights. Like, there's not a lot of things to like about her. She will have a 4-inch reach advantage here, which was shocking to me. That's nice. She's just a short little tank. She's the shorter fighter, so that should help in her blast doubles. And she has the reach, which will help in the striking, but she's just outgunned everywhere. This is also going to be a catch weight fight. So although Josephine has a smaller reach, he is the bigger girl. And with them both filling in on short notice and it being a catch weight bout, Josephine's going to fill out a lot more than Marnik is. So there's not really anything I like about Marnik in this matchup. And she's also hittable. I've seen her rocked multiple times. And in Contender Series, she was put to sleep with a head kick. So yeah, I think if she got knocked out in Contender Series against Bruno Brazil, I think Josephine is better than Bruno Brazil. So at this point, I think she's going to get absolutely killed. So that's the reason that this is lined as Josephine making her debut at -500, basically. But I agree with it. The over-under at 2.5, the over -190 has my attention because Josephine does win a lot by decision. However, she could just head kick her to hell, and the under 2.5 at plus money also has my eye as well. So the pick is going to be Josephine. And you're just going to throw her in some parlays because I think it's 50-50 on her winning by decision or knockout. She's not going to submit her, but I just can't decide if she's going to put her out or not. All right, next fight of the night. Talking about people getting put out. We have Charlie Campbell at -380 going up against Alex Reyes at +300. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 +170. Under 1.5 at -220. That last line is moved to where Josephine's a bigger favorite and Charlie Campbell's a much bigger favorite now. He's actually the one taking this fight on short notice. Alex Reyes was initially slated to take on Natan Levy. But here's the problem with Alex Reyes. No one knew he was still on the UFC roster. His last fight was against Platinum Mike Perry in 2017. That was 6 years ago, and this guy just has not fought since. And it looks like, honestly, the UFC, they saw him in 2018. They tried to schedule him against Nazareth and make Nazareth look good. That's when he was a huge prospect. And he had to pull out of the fight. Then they tried to book him not too long ago this year against Trevor Peek because they love the way Trevor Peek fights. They just know that he's very raw and they kind of have to they have to build him slowly. But he had to pull out of that fight. So they were like, you know what? We really like this Natan Levy. We don't have a lot of fighters from Israel. They're really trying to push him. So they initially had Natan Levy fighting him to get a little bit of a rub. But Natan Levy had to pull out this time. So what do you do with Alex Reyes? Well, you don't rebook him because, again, he hasn't fought in 6 years. If he's healthy enough to go, you let him fight and get out of this contract. So they had to just bring in someone on short notice, which is where this Charlie Campbell matchup happened. But in regards to Alex itself, again, I haven't seen him in 6 years. He's 36 years old. His wrestling seems okay, but it's not the greatest. Really suspect level of competition. It's very, very shaky here. I don't know, man. They just keep setting him up against people that they want to push. So obviously they don't think highly of this guy. His jiu-jitsu's okay. He's actually, if you recognize the last name Reyes, he's gonna be the Latino here, but he's also the older brother, not younger, older brother of Dominic Reyes, the guy that everyone thought beat John Jones until he went on this big run of getting knocked out and losing. So before Dominic Reyes' chin went away and he was somewhat of a contender, yeah, that was a cool thing to have your both brothers in the UFC, but I don't think neither one of them are long for the UFC. His striking doesn't look that good. He looks athletic, but he's not technical at all. His wrestling, he can get you down with his athleticism, but he doesn't really have a ground game, and he's not really. I mean, his ground games, everything's just okay, but it was okay back in 2017. The game has progressed the last 6 years, so I just think if he fights a competent fighter, he's in some serious trouble. And that's exactly what Charlie Campbell is. I think Charlie Campbell's actually underrated. I think Charlie Campbell's very good. The problem is he has his last loss by knockout, and he got knocked out by Chris Duncan on the Contender Series. He fights from Longo MMA, so of course Sarah Longo's gym with Aljo, with Marab, with Nazim, and Matt Frivola, all those guys, all the like Jersey, New York boys. He's 28 years old, so he's entering his physical prime as well. He has good striking. Again, he has taken this on short notice, but his wrestling defense seems good, which again is something that's very wrestling is something that's very fixated at that gym, as well as jujitsu. His jujitsu is not good. It's not bad. It's okay, but he's predominantly a striker. That's not normal coming out of that gym. But he's a very good striker. The gym's getting a little more well-rounded. People question his durability because he got knocked out in his last fight. It was a contender series fight. He went out there and killed Chris Duncan. He was dominating Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan was doing stanky legs all across the octagon. Finally caught a bearing of where he was and just threw a hook blindly, eyes closed, just threw a hook out there. Just happened to catch Charlie coming in and catch him right on the button and put him out. It was the biggest comeback in contender series history. Unfortunately, Charlie was on the wrong end of it, but he's still a damn good fighter. He went back on the regional scene, got a quick knockout. Now, his cardio concerns me a touch. Just because all of his wins are early. All of his wins, when you look at them, round one knockout, round one knockout, round one knockout, round two 50 seconds in knockout, round two a minute and 30 seconds in knockout. Now he does have a decision win here, which is nice, but round two a minute and 40 in knockout, and then he has another decision here where he lost a decision. So I didn't see that fight, but did he gas out? He finally had a fight that didn't go that didn't get finished in the first or second round, and he happens to lose. And then the fight before that, his first ever career pro fight, he won a split decision, and he won all 3 rounds. And it sounds like he was winning at the beginning and then faded at the end. So you do have to watch his cardio, but I don't know how much cardio 36-year-old Reyes is going to have either. So I think the cardio is not going to matter because Charlie's just going to knock him out in round one. So the pick is going to be Charlie. The bet is going to be Charlie. That over under is set at minus 220 under 1.5 for a reason. All for Charlie. Can the over hit? No, I think it's the under. I think it's Charlie, and I think it's Charlie by KO. So that's what the bet is going to end up being. Pick Charlie, bet Charlie. All right, next fight of the night is where the grease starts. I see a lot of people on the other side, and let me tell you why they're wrong. We have Tracy Cortez at minus 120 going up against Jasmine Jasdavicius at plus 100. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 at minus 450. Under 2.5 at plus 310. Let's just start with Jasmine because Jasmine's ass. Jasmine is not good. Jasmine has okay top. She's an okay top game. She has zero jujitsu, but she can take you down and hold you down and just stay on top. She has to do so because her striking is bad. She started very late in life. She's 34 years old, but she didn't turn pro until 2019. So she's only been pro for 4 years now. And it's not like she has a ton of experience before then. She didn't grow up wrestling. She didn't grow up striking. She just learned everything all in one fell swoop. Her wrestling is good for how new she is to the sport. I will give her that. Her striking is very robotic and she's very hittable on the feet. She's gonna have a 2-inch reach advantage here, which is nice. But here's the things I don't like about Jasmine. One, she slows. Her cardio's not good. It is not good at all. We've seen her slow multiple times. We saw her slow in the we saw Gabrielle Fernandez slow. So Jasmine was able to take advantage, but she slowed down a little herself. She looked good in her last fight against Miranda Maverick cardio wise. I'll give her that. But Natalia Silva, she slowed. Kay Hansen, she slowed. The girl that just went on Contender Series, Julia Upholstery, she slowed. She slows all the time. She has a split decision loss to Elise Reed. That is no longer a good look, believe me. Elise Reed is actually on the card later here. And that was because she slowed. Like, this girl's cardio is a question mark. She doesn't death gas, but you can take advantage of her, and she does struggle to win the 3rd round. The other thing with her is that her wrestling is overrated. It's not as good as people think. It's recency bias to the fullest extent. Everyone is talking about how she absolutely crushed Miranda Maverick. Let's take a quick look at Miranda Maverick, because you know what she is? A fraud in regards to wrestling. She's not a good wrestler. She can't wrestle at all. Look at the girls that she was able to take down. She was able to take down Priscilla Cachoeira, who was career like worst takedown defense in the division. She was able to take down Shayna Young, who also cannot wrestle. She was able to take down Sabina Mazo, who cannot wrestle. She was able to take down Jillian Robinson, who has zero takedown defense and wants to be on the ground. Those are the girls that she took down. Macy Barber, she wasn't able to just take down easily. And guess what? She lost that fight. Was it a split? Was it a controversial split? Yes, but she has an L because she wasn't able to out grapple her. Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield's wrestling is also a little overrated. She struggled against Santos. She struggled against JJ Aldridge. Like, I like Erin Blanchfield. I think she's the future champ. I'm the biggest Erin Blanchfield supporter, but her wrestling's a touch overrated. And she went out there and looked like Aaron Blanchard against Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick can't wrestle. And you know who else took her down? Not Jasmine Jastovicius. Jasmine Jastovicius, again, has a good top game. She was on top the entire time, but she did not take down Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick shot the world's crappiest single leg over and over and over. And all Jasmine did was sprawl and spin around. She didn't do anything else. She didn't physically take down Miranda Maverick. All she did was sprawl and spin. That's not a takedown. If they stay on the feet, Miranda Maverick won the first round in all three judges' scorecards. So it's not like, yeah, she went out there and she definitely won the fight, but don't go out there thinking she out wrestled Miranda Maverick. Her wrestling is on point. First of all, she didn't get a takedown. Secondly, Miranda Maverick is a sneaky bad wrestler. She's a good jiu-jitsu practitioner, bad wrestler. Miranda Maverick is basically Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson can't wrestle either. She's good on the ground, but she can't really wrestle. And that is no feather in the cap. And then the other girls that she's going out and defeating, I like Jasmine Jastovicius. I have won money on her multiple times. I've won money on her against Gabrielle Fernandez. I bet her as a dog. Natalia Silva, I bet Natalia Silva because I knew. Kay Hansen, I bet Jasmine Jasovicius against Kay Hansen. Like, I am betting on Jasmine all the time. I love when she has a wrestling advantage because most women's MMA do not wrestle, and she's able to expose that. You know, there's only a few girls in the flyweight division that have the ability to wrestle. And you know who one of the best wrestlers are? Tracy fucking Cortez. She has a wrestling advantage. So Jasmine Jastovicius' only path to victory is taking these girls down and laying on top. She's not going to take down Tracy. Tracy's going to take her down. And we've seen Jasmine's bottom game against Natalia Silva. It is not good. Tracy Cortez has been wrestling her entire life and has a plethora of different takedowns. I've seen Tracy get a double. I've seen Tracy get body lock takedowns. I've seen her get inside trips. I've seen Tracy wrestle her ass off. Tracy is the superior wrestler. Tracy is the better striker. I've seen Tracy stand on the feet with people like Stephanie Yeager and also take her down. I've seen her stand on the feet with Justine Kish. Again, these aren't the greatest strikers or aren't the greatest fighters in the world, but they're both better strikers than Jasmine. Jasmine can't strike. She's very robotic. Tracy Cortez has had a fight. Is at Fight Ready, which is a wrestling heavy camp. I know, so is Jasmine Jasovicius at Niagara the team over in Niagara Falls over with Mike Millot and such. I understand that. But Tracy Cortez is also the Latina, so she will be the one the UFC is trying to push. I also know that Tracy Cortez has people. Tracy Cortez, sorry, there's like a fly or something in here. Tracy Cortez also has very particular matchmaking. She does not accept every fight, and her management has gone on record. They have their own podcast. They've gone on record and said that they are very picky about who she fights. They've admitted this physically. I've heard it myself. They've said this out loud, and they want to fight Jasmine Jastovicius. There's a reason. They know they will kill her in the wrestling. Tracy does have a problem with her cardio as well, but it's a wash. Neither one of these girls have good cardio, so just give me the better wrestler in that circumstance. You have to watch Tracy's weigh-in. She has weighed in heavy before. But the last angle we have here is that the last time we saw Mackenzie Dern, she was going through a bad breakup, and she went out there and took it all out on Angela Hill. What's to stop Tracy Cortez from doing the same with her breakup with Brian Ortega? Some people get negatively impacted, but the last few fights where someone is coming off of a breakup, they came in and dominated and just let some steam out. So Tracy has a reason to fight. Tracy also, they have Tracy has a win. She's the only person to have a win in MMA over Aaron fucking Blanchfield, the people everyone crowned as champion. That is Aaron's loss. Tracy Cortez. Tracy Cortez lost her very first career fight via guillotine. Okay, she stuck, which shows that she was wrestling. She stuck her head in a fucking guillotine trying to get a takedown. Very first fight, she got choked out. Has not lost since. She's good. She's very good. She doesn't fight often. She's injury prone. She's always getting hurt. But when she comes back with a vengeance. She's the younger fighter. She's the better striker. She's the better wrestler. She's the one during UFC Noche that has Latin descent, so the UFC wants to push her. She's the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. What the actual fuck? She has the motive. She is going to win this fight. She's going to kill Jasmine. I like Jasmine. I will continue to bet her as a dog, but you bet her because she goes out there and wrestles. And now she's fighting someone that's a better wrestler. Jasmine's fucked. The pick is going to be Tracy. The bet is definitely going to be Tracy at minus 120. At one point earlier in the week, she was a dog. I got greedy and waited, and now she's no longer a dog. I fucked up. I'm still going to load up on Tracy Cortez minus 120. That's a fucking steal. Next fight of the night is one where I have not as much conviction. We have Edgar Chairez as a minus 250 favorite going up against Daniel Lacerda at plus 205. Over underside at 1.5. Over 1.5 is plus 165. Over 1.5 plus 165. Under 1.5 minus 215. The reason the under in a flyweight fight is minus 215 is because of my boy Daniel Lacerda. He also goes by Daniel De Silva, so just in case a different book puts a different name, just be cognizant of that. He's 27 years old, so he's entering his fighting prime. He has sneaky good jiu-jitsu that no one talks about. He has a lot of sub wins on his record on the regional scene. He has good wrestling. He's very explosive. He's very athletic. He is really good striking. This dude is fast as shit. He has a ton of power. He has 100% finish rate. There's nothing to dislike about Daniel De Silva outside of one minor thing. One thing, and by minor, I mean the most important thing you need in MMA. Cardio. My guy has 4 minutes or he death gases. He cannot go past 4 minutes. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what type of flyweight does not have cardio. That the man would not have lost any of his fights. Maybe he still loses the Francisco fight, but he doesn't lose any of these other fights if he had cardio. Jeff Molina, he ragdolled Jeff Molina, took him down like 3 times in the first round, took his back, absolutely dominated, and then he death gassed and got finished 40 seconds in the round 2 because he had nothing left to offer. Francisco caught him in a quick knee bar, nothing you can do there. Victor Altamirano, he came out and dropped Victor Altamirano is a one tough ass Mexican, and he came out and dropped him early, had him dead to rights, tried to finish him, got tired, gassed out, and he got finished himself out of fatigue. And then his last fight is the coolest one of all. CJ Vergara. He went into CJ's hometown, spinning back kicked him to hell. CJ went flying, had no idea where he was, and admittedly so, and ran across the octagon and was literally running from Daniel De Silva. Daniel Lacerda, meanwhile, chased after him, still trying to get the finish. And when CJ was done running and finally woke up and figured out where he was, with the little run around trying to chase him, Daniel gassed himself out and then was finished in the second round because he had nothing left. This man is basically like never lost the first round. He's nasty. He is great everywhere. But if he doesn't finish you in 4 minutes, he's toast. He just can't. He doesn't have 5 minutes of cardio. I've never seen anything like it at flyweight. On the other side, we have Chairez, who also doesn't have that good of cardio, to be honest with you. He does slow down, but he can go a whole 15 minutes. He trains over at Entram, where Brandon Moreno was. I want to say that's Grasso, and that's Grasso's camp as well. maybe not. I don't recall. I know Brandon Moreno was definitely there for a long time. He's a good striker. He trained with Brandon Moreno a long time, which is nice to train with a former champ. He has a 2-inch reach advantage here, which is nice. He has good offensive jujitsu. He has a really tight guillotine. He has some decent chokes. But he also has terrible defensive. He did survive against Tyra and put him into pretty serious guillotine chokes. I will give him that. But he has 5 career losses, and out of his 5 career losses, 3 of them are by submission. So, like, his defensive grappling is sketchy. And one of those are to Jesus Aguilar. Jesus Aguilar is not a good fighter. So he does have some defensive grappling liabilities, but offensively, he's pretty good on the ground. But he's predominantly a striker. That's his bread and butter. That's where he's best. His wrestling is not good. He has 40% takedown defense. So part of me prays Daniel takes him down. But I don't know what he's gonna do. He slows down, but nothing like Daniel Lacerda. My thing is that Tyra fight, I watched him continually go for guillotine chokes. Tyra is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's phenomenal on the ground. You're not going to tap him out with a guillotine. Yet he continued to go for it. He went for 4 different guillotines instead of just winning on the feet. Tyra can't strike. He's not a good striker. But Chairez didn't care. He just kept going down to the ground with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So I do not trust this guy's fight IQ whatsoever. He doesn't have good cardio. He's a defensive liability on the ground. But he has at least 10 minutes of cardio. My guy Lacerda, I love him, but he cannot fight more than 5 minutes. But because it's so prevalent that he has so many grappling deficiencies, I pray that Lacerda sees it. And if he takes him down, I pray he's able to get that submission early. So these odds are ridiculous. I cannot bet Edgar Chairez as a minus 250 and growing. He's about to be minus 300 when the fight kicks off. Don't trust that. It's a trap. Lacerda's not to be trusted either, but at least there's a plus 205 sitting next to him. The right thing to do is just the under 1.5. Lacerda physically can't fight that long, so that under is free money. He is a lightweight Terrence McKinney, or sorry, not lightweight. He has flyweight Terrence McKinney. However, I'm in a dog chase. If he loses, he's getting cut. So I only get one more chance to bet on my guy. So the pick is going to be Chairez. The bet should be the under, but if you want to chase some value, you can go ahead and take Daniel inside the distance. I'm going to have a fun time with it. You'll at least get excitement, win or lose. All right. Next fight of the night. I'm not going to say it's going to be a bunch of excitement. It's going to be a crap ton of fun because Roman Kopylov is about to murder Josh Fremd. We have Josh Fremd as a plus 280 dog. Come back on Roman Kopylov minus 355. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 plus 125. Under 2.5 minus 160. Let's start with Fremd. Fremd is someone I really wanted to like. He was pretty much a generalist coming out of Slippery Rock, PA. I was really excited for Fremd, but he's a little bit of a fraud, to be honest with you. I thought initially he was a generalist, but he's kind of like a step under. He doesn't have good striking. He doesn't have good jiu-jitsu. He doesn't have good wrestling. He is okay of everything. And his cardio also wasn't that great. I saw it look pretty decent against Fluffy Hernandez. I know he did slow down when he took it on short notice and didn't gas out. So I thought maybe he had some cardio, but he had some cardio issues against Jamie Pickett. And I don't know, man. You never know what version of Fremd you're getting, but I've never seen a good version. I've seen an okay version of Fremd, and I've seen a bad version. So I'm kind of done with him, to be honest with you. He's taking this fight on short notice, so he just missed weight and looked the worst he's ever looked in his career, and now he's coming back like 5 weeks later. I don't trust that at all. And the last thing I always say about Josh Fremd is he's just unathletic. He's not fast. He's extremely slow. He's not powerful. He's just big and lumbering and awkward, man. He's just an awkward man. He seems nice. I have no problem with him. And again, he's okay everywhere. He's just not good anywhere. He's nothing to be scared of. On the other hand, we have Roman Kopylov, who's kind of terrifying at this point. Roman Kopylov was always a really, really good striker, which is weird because Russians usually think of them being crazy wrestlers. No, he was a striker through and through. A whole bunch of devastating KOs. His striking is crisp. He has a lot of weird techniques I've never seen before that are just breathtaking. His jiu-jitsu, very questionable. But here's the deal. You don't see it anymore. Previously, he had some issues with his wrestling. His cardio still not that great. It's gotten better, but he still does slow down quite a bit towards the end of the second round, and he's not himself in the third round. He can hang on, but he does slow down quite a bit in his fights. However, his wrestling is what's changed. I mentioned that he's Russian, but he likes to strike instead. He lost the fight to Carl Robertson because he got taken down and submitted, and he's like, "You know what? That didn't feel right. I'm gonna take a long break. I'll come back. I'll get better." He fought Albert Duraev, who grapple fucked him the entire fight, and he realized, "You know what? I'm gonna get cut if I don't work on my takedown defense. I'm Russian. It shouldn't be hard to find a good wrestler who's good at wrestling." And this man found him. The Dagestanis, the Islam Makachevs, the Habib Nurmagomedovs, the cousin Umars. He's like, if I'm going to get good at wrestling, I'm going to Dagestan. And he literally moved over to Dagestan, Russia, and has not been taken down since. The man is now rocking a 90% takedown defense. Alexia Dichenko had his leg on a single, had his leg all the way up on his shoulder. Kopylov did not go down. Punahele Sariano wrestled D2 in college, did not take him down. Claudio Ribeiro doesn't really wrestle, so no shame there. But again, ever since this man moved to Dagestan, he's you can't take him down. So now you have this crazy striker with crazy takedown defense. What the fuck is Josh Fremd gonna do? Josh Fremd has also been knocked out multiple times. Kopylov, most of his wins by KO. So Fremd is in a world of trouble here, and I think he gets absolutely demolished. So the pick is going to be Roman Kopylov. The bet is going to end up being Roman Kopylov. All right, next fight of the night, we have more locks. Like this little middle ground here is where we're going to make all our money. We have Lupita Godinez at minus 410 going up against the aforementioned Elise Reed at plus 330. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5. Minus 215, under 2.5, plus 165. Those odds are interesting. Let's start with Loopy. Loopy's my girl. Loopy's good. Loopy's really, really, really good. She is the Latino in this circumstance, or Latina. So obviously that's the one the UFC wants to push, hence her being a minus 410 favorite. She is really good wrestling. Very, very, very sneaky good wrestling. She has her little sister won some sort of like Olympic Games in wrestling for Mexico, so like it runs in the family. Her striking's good. It's a little, I wouldn't say low volume, but it's close to being low volume. She hits extremely hard, but her striking's good. I just wish she threw a little more out there. Her jiu-jitsu is good. It's not bad. It's not great. But it's serviceable. She knows what's going on the ground. She's pretty good on the ground. So yeah, she's basically good everywhere. She does slow down in fights. She's a big girl, a lot of muscle on this girl. She doesn't gas. She never gasses. She will fight a hard 15, but she'll slow down a little. My thing with Loopy is people are saying she's untrustworthy because she lost to Angela Hill because she didn't wrestle. Everyone and their mother knows that she was not okay during the Angela Hill fight. She was sick, and I don't know if that injury is what prevented her from wrestling, but I know that Luma Lugbume is very good, and the one deficiency she had was wrestling, and Lupi decided to wrestle in that fight, and she won. Ariana Conarlosi is not terrible, but she has one major flaw, and that's the wrestling. And Lupi went in and took her down 8 times. So, like, she knows when girls can't wrestle and she takes them down. Angela Hill has a little bit of a wrestling issue. So, I think she was just hurt. Like, something was actually hurt with her. Prior to the Luma fight, she had Luana Carolina. Let's not forget she took that fight on 6 days' notice up a weight class. Luana has a little bit of an issue wrestling, and she did try to wrestle Luana, but Luana was just too big. There's weight classes for a reason. I don't like that Loopy continually body locked her. If you're a shorter, stocky fighter like that compared to a long, lanky girl, you shoot a double. You run up the pipe. You shoot a single. You do not body lock someone taller than you. It's a lot easier for them to defend. She wasn't registering for that for whatever reason. So I liked the wrestling idea. That was the right time to wrestle. She just wasn't doing the right technique. So I don't know. I'll give her a little bit of a pass there. And then Silvana Suarez can't really wrestle. She took her down in Sumter. Like she wrestles when she has to. And then of course her very, very first loss was Jessica Panay. I don't think she lost that fight. She didn't fight smart that fight, but that was also her UFC debut. And we see all these young people come in and choke in their debuts over and over and over. I thought Loopy won and it was a screw job. But she did make it close for no reason. But and again, you have a debut, you have up a weight class on 1 day or on 6 days notice, you have an injury, and those are your losses. Like she's good. She has 3 L's, but they literally, I'm not trying to make excuses for her, but those are good excuses. I mean, debuts, wrong weight class on 1 week notice, and fighting hurt at a catch weight. Like, I'll cut her some slack. Now, I will tell you, I don't think she won the Cynthia Calvillo split decision. I think she was gifted that. She did try to wrestle there, and Cynthia's predominantly a wrestler. So that was not the time to wrestle. She tried. She thought she was better. She was not. She found a way. But I think Cynthia should have won that fight. But the last fight, Emily Ducati's also a pretty good wrestler. And Loopy mixed it up. And I liked that. She did both. She struck and she wrestled. I like that a lot. I like that approach. So people that say Loopy can't wrestle or doesn't wrestle when she should, she wrestled every time she had to, and I just broke down why the 3 losses were there. On the flip side, we have Elise Reed, who has swag for days. I love Elise Reed. I think I'm the only one that likes Elise Reed. Something about her, she is just charisma, man. It's just this pale little short girl, but she just has so much swag when she comes to the octagon, dancing and the way she just carries herself. I fuck with Elise Reed. As the kids would say, I like that energy. Her striking, it's okay. It's a little overrated, to be honest with you. She just spams a left hand over and over and over. But it connects. When she does, she hits decently hard. She kind of reminds me of like a Sean Strickland, to where she hits hard, but she's not knocking anyone out. Like you will physically see how hard she's hitting you, but you're not going to go out. It's weird. It's interesting. Her ground game, non-existent. She has no jujitsu whatsoever. Her wrestling, non-existent. 50% takedown defense. And although she's predominantly a striker, is hittable, gets hit more than she hits on the feet. So yeah, she's also pretty low volume. As much as I love her and keep betting on her and winning with her, I bet her against Melissa Martinez. I bet her against Sam Hughes. That was a bad bet. She did gas out there. I did bet Sarge against her because Sarge was just too big for her. But she took that fight up a weight class because she has swag, man. Elise is cool. I bet her against Jinyu Frey. She won that. It was a little close. It was a little greasy, but she got the job done. So I don't know. I like her a lot. I think she's cool. I think she's good for the UFC. But I think she's serving a purpose here, and I think they're serving her up to Loopy on a platter. So the pick is going to be Loopy. The bet is going to end up being Loopy. Then that takes us to the next fight. And this is not as cut and dry. It's pretty greasy, not really too sure what to do with it. We have Fernando Padilla at minus 260 going up against Kyle Nelson at plus 210. Over under set at 1.5. Over 1.5 minus 130. Sorry, over 1.5 minus 130. Under 1.5 plus 100. I don't know what the fuck to do with this fight, to be honest with you. I hate Fernando Padilla. I don't think he's very good. He's only 26 years old, and it kind of feels like he's green. He's the Latino fighter here, so he's the one the UFC wants to win. He's a minus 260 favorite. Like, they gave every single Mexican just a favorable matchup. I understand. It's UFC Noche. His wrestling, suspect. It's not good. His takedown defense looked terrible on the regional scene. His striking looked good. His jiu-jitsu was very threatening. I can't say it was good, but he threw stuff up nonstop. He has those long, lanky limbs, so he's just throwing up triangles. He's throwing up arm bars. He throws stuff up. You cannot just stay in his guard. You have to be active and try to pass and be very, very safe along the way. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage here, which is nice. And he's pretty durable. He's never been knocked out or finished, to be honest with you. When you look at his career, he has 4 losses. Dan Ige, good loss. Dan Ige's a good fighter. Spike Carlisle, good loss. Spike Carlisle's killing it over in Bellator. So, I mean, they're all decisions, split decision. And all these guys are out wrestling him and out grinding him. He can't wrestle to save his life. And if you can stay safe and hold him down, you win the fight. But can Kyle Nelson do that? I don't know, because Kyle Nelson is a striker by nature, but he's as his career progressed, he turned into a wrestler, and now all he does is grapple. He grappled Blake Builder against the cage. He grappled Jai Herbert and took him down multiple times. He took down Do Hoon Choi 5 times in their fight. He took down Billy Q. Like it's like he was on the verge of getting cut, and then decided he's just going to start wrestling. It was weird. He also went up a weight class and just started wrestling. And honestly, it's been working for him. He's a strong, strong, strong guy. His striking's good. His wrestling's not terrible, to be honest with you. It's not good, but it's not bad. He's just so strong that he makes it work, or he'll just control you against the cage. The thing with Kyle is that he has bad cardio. It is not good at all. He can go 15, but he is struggling in the last round. Choi won that fight. It was not a draw. There was a point deduction on the Choi side, and I still think he should have won, to be honest with you. I had money on Kyle, and I'm telling you, Choi won that fight. We are happy with the draw. Blake Builder, that was interesting. I didn't expect him to win that. I knew to stay away, but I didn't expect Kyle to win it. I'm kind of feeling the same here. I think this is a total pass. If anything, I have money on Fernando as I bet it right away in a parlay. Then I ran back to fight tape, and what I thought in my head was not what I saw with my eyes. So I don't know, man. I think I made a mistake. I think Kyle Nelson is the side, but I don't really. It's too late now. But for your sake, yeah, it's dog or pass. So the pick is going to be Kyle Nelson. The bet's going to be Kyle, and I think Kyle only wins a decision here. So if you want to juice it, and the odds are okay. I don't know what the decision props are right now. I didn't look it up for that. But I bet it's a pretty decent number, Kyle, by decision. So just take a quick peek at it, and that's the way I would bet this. And honestly, I'll probably end up betting it, to be honest with you. I'll keep the parlay, and I'll just bet Kyle by decision as well. All right, then that's going to take us to another one that I've gone back and forth with. We have Daniel Zuhuber at minus 270 going up against Christos Giagos at plus 220. Over under set at 2.5, over 2.5 plus 110, under 2.5 minus 140. Daniel is the appropriate favorite. I just don't like this line, man. Minus 270 is too much. I don't like women's MMA. I do not like low level heavyweight. The other thing I don't like betting on is trusting young favorites. This kid's 24 years old, and he's already fucked us before with Trey Ogden. He just went out there and did nothing. He threw nothing. The fight before, he threw like 150 significant strikes. The next fight, he threw like 30. He just froze out there. These young kids have good and bad days, and they just panic. I don't know what it is. He fights at Extreme, he trains out of Extreme Couture, so he's training with the current champ, Sean Strickland. He's the Latino here, so there's a reason he's a big favorite. They're trying to get him a win. He's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage. He has 91% takedown defense. That's huge against Christos. He has a ton of volume, which is also big against Christos. And his cardio is good, which is good against Christos. Like everything he does is great. He just has kid moments where he just freezes or he does something stupid. He reminds me a lot of Ignacio Bahamondes, and Bahamondes screwed us before. And I said, you know what? I'll give him one more chance. He was young, he was green. And then he screwed us again his last fight against fucking Klein. So I have bad feelings that Daniel screwed us against Trey Ogden. He did he was supposed to against Lando Veneta. I'm scared he's going to screw us again against Christos Giagos. But the only reason I'm going to go ahead and just stick with the Zellhuber bet is because Christos Giagos doesn't have gas. This dude gasses out all his fights. He's 20-10. He's at Killcliff FC. I love that camp. It's self-training with Michael Chandler, with Kamaru Usman. He's at a really good camp. His wrestling is very good. His jiu-jitsu's okay. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just okay. I'd probably say it's a wash with Zellhuber. I do think Christos is the better wrestler for sure. But Daniel can go a hard 15. Christos cannot. He will slow down by the second round. His striking, very low volume, kind of robotic. I know he's coming off of a knockout win against Ricky Glenn. I think it was fluky, to be honest with you. Who else is he going out there and knocking out? Let's see his last knockout, because I'm literally looking. His last knockout before that was in 2016 on the regional scene. and that might be his only other knockout. So he has two. Oh no, he has one here. So he has three. He has one in 2014. So he has three knockouts total. I think that was a fluke. I think Daniel absolutely kills him on the feet. He has more volume, better technique, hits harder. In regards to wrestling, definitely Christos. But what is the one way to really gas yourself out? Wrestling. So the thing he has to do is continue to take Daniel down. If Daniel can keep getting up in the second and third round, he's going to kill Christos. If Christos can hold Daniel down, he might be able to sneak away a sneaky decision here. And that's going to be good odds at where he is. He's the vet. He's fought the better guys. He's fought the Tiago Moises, the Sean Sorianos, the Jakar Closes. He fought Charles fucking Oliveira. He fought Josh Emmett, like Chris Wade, Gilbert Burns. Like he's lost to really, really good guys. But his cardio really, really scares me. And he hasn't beat anyone. Then you got to look at the people he's beat Carlton minus, and he struggled at the end of that fight. Damir Hazovic, he's beating guys that have notoriously bad wrestling. So you give someone that's a decent fighter, they beat him. Then they give him someone with terrible wrestling, and he just grapple fucks him. What is Daniel? Daniel's Latino, and Daniel is trying to get a setup win. So the pick is going to be Zell Huber. The bet's going to be Zell Huber. But don't put him in too many parlays because it's risky. The next fight is not. We have Raul Rosas Jr. going up against Terrence Mitchell. We keep this one nice and short. Rosas Jr. minus 700 and growing. Terrence Mitchell plus 500. Over 1.5 plus 220. Under 1.5 minus 300. We talked about someone being a Lacerda being flyweight Terrence McKinney. Well, Mitchell is bantamweight Terrence McKinney, who used to fight at flyweight. Rosas Jr., huge bantamweight, not going to make the weight class too much longer. Terrence Mitchell, true 25 pounder, who is just up at 35 because he's older in age now. He's 33. He has good wrestling. I will give him that. His jujitsu's okay, and he's athletic. He doesn't really know what to do with his athleticism on the feet. And the biggest thing with him is that he's an Alaska FC vet. He fights the bottom of the barrel, like 4-1, 4-2, 3-3. So bad they don't have a record. So bad they don't have a record. So bad they don't have a record. 1-2, 0-2, 4-1. 11-6, which was really sketchy. He's so bad they don't have a record. Like then he fought someone that was 3-0 and 4-1 and lost. They had winning records, so he lost. So, but before that, it was 2-5, 3-0, and doesn't have a record. So he's fought like 6 people that don't even have Tapology pages. He's fought predominantly fighters with losing records, and the few that he did fight that had winning records, he lost. So, yeah, he's one of the biggest frauds on the current UFC roster. But here's the thing. Last time they gave him Cameron Simon. They said, hey, come in on short notice. This kid's only 21. He's green. You stand a chance. You know what? He went out there and got killed. And they're like, we're sorry, buddy. We thought you could take advantage of him being really young. We'll give you even younger. Raul Rosas Jr. is 18, newly fresh 18 years old. How about you come and fight this kid? Show him a grown man lesson. And he's going to get his shit rocked. Rosas is a very, very good wrestler, very, very good jiu-jitsu practitioner. He can't strike, but he is Latino, and it is a set-up fight. He will have the crowd behind him. He does slow down in his fight. We saw it in the Mondo fight. We saw it in the C-Rod fight. He can slow down. But Mitchell has some of the worst cardio. Mitchell's cardio makes Daniel Lacerda look like an Olympic, like just crazy. It looks his cardio look like Colby. Like that's how bad Mitchell's cardio is. I talked about Lacerda not having more than 4 minutes of cardio. Mitchell has 2 minutes, and then he is gassed and giving up. Raul, bad cardio, but he can at least go 3 rounds. This dude Mitchell literally has 2 minutes, or he will gas out. Again, Raul's striking is not very good. So all Mitchell has is a puncher's chance. He's athletic. He's freakishly athletic. He's going to be smaller, but he is athletic. Maybe he can catch him. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Raul's going to come out, and I think he's going to take him down right away. And even if Mitchell somehow takes Raul down or gets on top, Raul is the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. He'll just reverse him, or he'll get up and then Mitchell will be tired just from standing up, from getting on the ground, and then he'll be able to take him out that way. He's minus 700 for a reason. Mitchell just has a puncher's chance. So the pick is going to be Raul. The bet's going to be Raul. All right. Then we have the two good ones, baby. We have the co-main event of the evening. We have Jack Della Maddalena at minus 150 going up against Kevin Holland at plus 130. Over under set at 2.5. Over 2.5 plus 115. Under 2.5 minus 145. Don't fall for the trap. Everyone and their mother's betting Kevin Holland because he's at the plus money. They don't understand. Jack had a bad fight his last fight. Listen, Jack fighting Brazil and fighting Kevin Holland, two completely different fighters. Don't even fight anywhere the same. You know who does fight like Kevin Holland? Randy Brown, who he went out there and dominated. You know who does fight like Kevin Holland? Danny Roberts, who he went out there and dominated. Now, both of them have durability issues. Kevin Holland does not. But Jack, when he's fighting these tall, lanky fighters, gets in on the inside, and his pressure looks a lot different than when he's fighting Basil, who's a grappler he's trying to stay away from. When he's fighting Angelus, Lusa, he just kind of stayed in the pocket and struck with him. Like when he's fighting these huge, tall guys, I've noticed a difference. I noticed a lot of pressure and a lot of boxing on the inside. Jack is extremely durable himself. He is super high volume. He has pretty good jiu-jitsu. It's a little exploitable, but it's just good overall. His takedown defense, not the greatest, but Holland can't wrestle. So you're going to have two strikers going at it. It's just Jack is going to come in. He's going to bring that pressure. Can Holland handle that pressure? Yeah, he could. Do I think he's going to right now? No, you never trust the public dogs. I think Holland has really good jiu-jitsu. It's sneaky good jiu-jitsu. Better than Jack. Kevin Holland is better than Jack on the ground. On the feet, I think it's 50-50. I do. Do I think Kevin's going to take down Jack? Fuck no. He's not going to take Jack down. Do I think Jack's going to take down Kevin? I honestly don't know. He might try to switch it up, but I don't really foresee it. I think it's going to be a 50-50 striking battle. The thing is, Jack's punches, Kevin Holland hits hard, but Jack's punches seem to have just a tiny bit more pop, and he throws a tiny bit more volume. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I think it's going to be a very greasy fight. Kevin's going to have an 8-inch reach advantage, but the way Jack fought Randy Brown, the way Jack fought Danny Roberts, I don't think Kevin's going to be able to use that 8 inches. He's going to be in his face the entire time. And Jack has good cardio. So does Kevin. They can go back and forth. But I look at Kevin fighting Joaquin Buckley, and Buckley got in his face and pressured him and had a lot of good moments. And Jack is a whole hell of a lot better than Joaquin Buckley. And you know what Buckley is? A welterweight now. He's the same size as Jack. You know who else was a welterweight at the time? Alex Oliveira, who had some success going against Kevin Holland in the beginning. Tim Means had a little bit of a success going up against Kevin Holland. I think this is a buy low spot on Jack. Everyone's really upset with his fight IQ going for those guillotines against Basil. Kind of like Edgar Chairez did with Taturo Taira. Jack did the same thing. Only difference is when Jack got up, he punished the hell out of Basil. So I don't think he's going to make that same mistake twice. I think he learned his lesson, and I think he's just going to stick to his pressure game plan. Will he put out Holland? Probably not. Will Holland put out Jack? Probably not. So the over 2.5 being plus money makes no sense to me. I think this fight goes the distance. I think that's a pretty easy bet, and it's plus money. So the pick is going to be Jack, but the bet's going to be the over 2.5. Give me the plus 115. What the fuck is Vegas doing? Then that takes us to the main event of the evening. If you haven't already, make sure you give this video a like, hit subscribe, give a follow over on Twitter, over on Instagram, over on TikTok, wherever there's a social media. There's a Stats and Stacks podcast. We have Grasso, the champion, Alexa Grasso, plus 140 going up against the GOAT, Valentina Shevchenko at minus 165. Over under set at 4.5. Over 4.5 minus 150. Under 4.5 plus 120. Let's start with Valentina because she's declining. It's sad to say. You hate to see your heroes go, but she is 35 years old. She is starting to slow. We saw it not just in the last fight where she got finished, not just in the Tyler Santos fight where everyone's screaming robbery. The fight before that against Lauren Murphy, she looked good. Jessica Andrade, she looked good. Jennifer Maia fight, she did not. Jennifer Maia fight was sketchy. That's the first time we saw a little bit of vulnerability from her. I don't know, man. It just seems to be going downhill real fast. She has good striking, but she's getting slow because she's 35. She is quite a bit slower than she used to be. Her wrestling has gotten better. Her wrestling's good. It's sneaky good. Her jujitsu is not that good. It's never been good. It's never been bad. She can get those crucifixes. She can get an arm bar, rear naked choke. Like she can do the basics, but she's not going to do it. She's not going to be throwing up a flying triangle or omoplata or anything like that. She's just she's not washed. There's a difference between slowing and washing. She is an all-time great, so we're just used to the just GOAT status. She's no longer a GOAT this day and age. She could still be champion. She's still damn good. Is she unstoppable? Like minus this girl was a minus 1,000 when they originally fought. She's not that anymore. She's never going to be minus 1,000 anymore. But are we getting a discount at 160? Yeah, we probably are, to be honest with you. So initially, I wanted to go in and bet her. But I went back and I rewatched that first fight, and it's not what I remember. When I went back and watched it, I remember Grasso killing her round one. And that's what I saw again. Grasso's a good striker. She's been working nonstop on her jujitsu. She works with our boy come over Diego Lopez as her jujitsu coach, and then all of a sudden he's getting subs out there. Diego's the man. He can even make Grasso a submission grappler. But yeah, her grappling's gotten a ton better. So like jokes aside with Diego Lopez, her grappling's good. Her striking very good. She's very fast hands. Cardio got better. She used to slow down a little at 115. She decided I can't make that weight cut. I'm going to go up to 125, and it's helped her cardio. She's looked a lot better up there. She is the Latina here. So again, that's who the UFC wants to win. That's who the crowd should be behind. However, when I went back and I watched the first fight, she dominated round one. She went out there and it was a stand-up affair, and she beat Valentina because she was too fast for Valentina. Round two, Valentina recognized that, and Champion was doing champion things and took her down. Round three, she took her down and dominated her round three. And round four, it was 50-50. Alexa came out and was winning the initial part of the fourth round. And then Valentina started to take over on the feet on the fourth round. It was pretty close. It could have gone either way until Valentina threw that spinning kick. Grasso literally jumped on her back and then choked her out. So it was 2-2. And the fourth round was it was 2-1 Valentina. The fourth round was 50-50, but it looked like the momentum started to go towards Grasso. And here's the thing. Whenever a young fighter defeats an old legend, and the old legend gets an immediate rematch, the young fighter wins again. Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, he had the shock head kick. They fought again, and Leon won. The other thing I think about is Max Holloway fought Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo was the featherweight GOAT, untouchable. I know Connor won. Max wasn't the one to beat him initially and dethrone him. Excuse me, but Max had the interim belt and they fought, and Max won. And they did it again, and Max won even more decisively. Like, that happens. That is a thing. Look at Max. Speaking of Max, look at Max and Volk. Max was then seen as the GOAT. Max was unstoppable. Volk went out there and won the first fight. It was very, very close. The second fight, very, very close. The third fight, but Volk won. The third fight, not close at all. Volk killed him. It's like these older, and I know Volk was older than Max, but in fight years, absolutely not. Max is like 82 in fight years. These newer guys come out there and they get the job done over and over and over. And the other thing that you notice is that the first fight, it never ends like the second fight never ends like the first. Moreno versus Figueroa. Moreno went out there and he lost a decision the first time, and then he finished him the second time, and he finished him the fourth time. We look at the Leon Edwards fight. He finished him the first time, decisioned him the second time. We look at the Max fight. He decisioned him the first time, then he finished him the second time. Like, it's always the opposite. The first one ended in a surprising finish. So I really like the over at -150. I think this fight goes the distance. If you don't want to pick a side because you think it's too greasy, just take the over. Alexa won by submission the first time. I bet whoever wins this, it's probably by decision because I don't see Valentina knocking out or submitting Alexa. And I don't see Alexa knocking out or submitting Valentina again. This is going to go the distance. And -150 is a bargain. So the pick is going to be Grasso. The bet is going to be the over. I like the over quite a bit here. That's UFC Noche. And Grasso versus Shevchenko 2. It's a pretty decent fight card considering all of the cancellations. Again, they had like 9 or 10 fights that got scrapped. I mean, just look at the bottom here. Like, look at all of these canceled fights. Chris Curtis, Fluffy would have been sick. Shavkat was supposed to be on this card against Kelvin. Cynthia Calvillo was supposed to be on this card. Pozanibio versus Rodriguez was on this card. Like, there was a lot of craziness on this card. It would have been one hell of a card. They did what they could to just secure it and keep it going. I appreciate it. It's a free card. It's a title fight on a free card. Let's take advantage. Let's have some fun. Let's win some money. Let's get it.